So in the Democratic National Convention that just passed, Michelle Obama had a speech where she talked about every morning she wakes up in a house built by slaves. Bill O'Reilly chimed in. And Bill O'Reilly...
What that cocksucker had to say.
He said that he went into the history of the White House. I think it was called the Executive Mansion in the beginning. And he said it was built by slaves as well as other, as well as white people and so forth. But he said that the slaves were well fed and adequately housed. People are upset over this right now.
Over what he said?
Yeah.
I mean, that's some real white man shit to say. Like, oh yeah, they were slaves, but they were well fed and adequately housed, so I don't really understand what the problem was. Well, let me put you in slavery then and adequately house you and make you well fed.
Yeah, I guess
off the innards of the fucking hog. And, yeah, let's see how you fucking like it. Bill? My thing is, as black people, we all waking up in a fucking house built by slaves. America is a house built by slaves. Wall Street was built by slaves.
Yeah.
I mean, so, I like that she said that on that national scale, but shit, we all waking up in a house that was built by slaves. Even white people.
Yeah.
Especially white people.
I mean, in fact, I just interviewed the founders of Cross Colors.
I mean, I was invited to farms where they grew cotton that I'm sure slaves were slaves, because I saw the pictures on the wall where the slaves picked the cotton at the farms. I was probably the first black person to sleep in that house.
Wow.
I mean, from, mills in different parts of the country.
And that was like 1990.
90s.
Early 90s.
Yeah.
Right.
Emancipation Proclamation happened in 1865. So for 130 years, black people weren't even really allowed in these houses still.
Right.
Way past the time of slavery.
But the gay rights movement started approximately 1973, and these motherfuckers already could piss in bathrooms alongside women and all kind of shit like that. In less than 40 years.
Yeah.
We've been here 400 years. And in 100-something, 30-something years, a black man couldn't even sleep in this particular crib.
And I just interviewed Akon. Now, I remember you had an interview a while back, and you said that America was never built for black people.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that?
I mean, it's just simple. We weren't. I mean, you gotta understand, black people were shipped here. It ain't like they chose to be here. Trust me, hadn't they not been brought here, they wouldn't be here. They'd be in Africa right now, and this world probably be totally different as far as what happens. America probably wouldn't exist. The way I see it is, it hurts me and pains me a lot that, African Americans constantly complain about how they're being treated in America and how the laws ain't fair and how it don't fit the minorities when they actually can always just go back home.
The world is a place for black people.
But meaning that black people didn't choose to be in America. They were forced.
Well, we didn't choose to be under this system. First of all, there's a lot of evidence that is coming up recently that's showing that we was already here. That we are the fucking Indians. We are the fucking Indians that they found here. And in order to make us not rebel crazily, they made us think we was from somewhere else. Now,
what?
Listen. You get here, right? Columbus and them motherfuckers get here.
Mm-hmm.
They got guns and all of that, so they fucking subdue, the older generation or whatever. But the older generation is always going to fight and always going to hold on to their shit. So you go to the next generation now who doesn't know. We were talking about the disconnect before. Just in one generation from you know what I mean? One generation, motherfuckers don't know who Big Daddy Kane is. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So imagine you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 generations. Even in just that one generation, if I separate you from your parent and tell you, you know, you're really from Africa. We stole you from Africa and brought you across the sea and brought you to this land that is not yours. So your land is actually somewhere over there. There's a big percentage. This is why black people and American Indians have always had a certain camaraderie.
You're saying that there were Native Americans that look like they're Africans.
Yes.
Already in this country.
Yes. And there's statues and all kind of shit to prove it.
But
even in South America, like, look at some of the statues, the Olmecs, all that type of shit. These motherfuckers have African features, not Hispanic, not Indian, African. So you got to understand, we've been here for so long. I'm saying original people have been here for so long that there's nothing we haven't done and nowhere we haven't been. Okay? There is no fucking place that white people have discovered on this planet. Anywhere that white people have gone, anywhere, they will find the original man was already there.
Well, I'm just saying that Africans look different, look a certain type of way because of the climate of where they live.
First of all, let's
not
go into just no. It's not just about climate.
Clearly, when there is a lot of sun and a lot of heat, you need more melanin in your skin to even survive in that particular region. This is why you have darker skinned people closer to the equator, and you have lighter skinned people farther away from the equator. No, you don't agree with this? This is all bullshit? It's all bullshit. Okay.
Because if you really do your research, there were black people in Europe for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years before there's any record of any white people coming there, and they were still black. What's the geographical weather shit there? Like, white people are an anomaly. Like, they just came onto the scene.
Brand new.
Brand new.
Right. For example, if you put me, like I sunburned, right?
Mm-hmm.
You throw me in a hot environment and I ain't got no sunblock, I'm gonna burn. Like I've actually had skin cancer before. You know, I mean, I had to get skin cancer cut out of my face. Like about 5 years ago or something like that. Like, black people don't really go through that because they have melanin.
Well, everybody has melanin. You just have such a low degree.
Yeah, I have a lot less melanin. I sunburn.
Right.
Black people do not sunburn.
Well,
in general.
Right. You can get burned. I mean, I just went to Jamaica. My shit was a little sore, but it ain't like, you know.
Yeah. Have you ever peeled?
Yeah.
Okay, you peeled.
Mm-hmm.
I probably peeled more than you have, though.
Oh, of course. Probably. Hell yeah. You probably need all that white shit on your nose
all
and all that type of shit.
All that shit.
Don't fuck with all that.
I probably got some on right now, actually. So
yeah, once I had got a baldy and shit, and I went on vacation one time, the top of my head
got burnt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have a lot less melanin
than, let's say, a dark-skinned person. Yeah, I'd like to know
from Africa.
If a very dark-skinned person burns or peels and stuff like that. And I would say the darker you are, the more resistant you are of the sun, the more
correct,
better it is for you. Yeah, so me being brown caramel color, only gets me but so far.
Right.
And the lighter you go, the worse it is for you.
Exactly.
But that's not just a climate thing.
No?
No. That has to do with a whole lot of shit. Like, this spiritual shit that goes into this. There's a lot of There's mental shit. See, everything starts in the mind first. It's not because I brought my body somewhere that my body's going to start changing just because it's in the place.
Well, your body doesn't necessarily start to change.
My mind starts to change.
Your offspring.
But it's the thinking that creates this. It's not just your offspring being in a certain place.
Well, your offspring, you will have certain, all your children look different, right? You have, 2 kids? Mm-hmm. Your kids do not look identical.
No, but they look similar.
They look similar. Mm-hmm. But you have, even 2 kids from the same set of parents will look different in certain ways, So if you look at natural selection, if you look at Darwin and you look at all these types of things.
First of all, we don't believe in natural selection.
You don't believe in that?
Darwin is an asshole. Like, he doesn't know what
You
the fuck
believe
he's
in that?
talking about. No! See, this is all white people putting their people at the pinnacle of science and acting like this is what it is. First of all, they're all theories. And even your man Einstein, the theory of relativity, the Big Bang theory, the theory of natural selection. These are not facts. This is just what white people who have only been on this planet for about 6,000 years have theorized for what they have seen thus far and what they've been able to understand.
Well, when you look at animals, like for example, when you look at giraffes, like clearly a giraffe is built a certain type of way because its food source is at a certain height. So
right, but guess what? The animal, the reason why over time it went, because the animal saw, okay, the food is up there. So it started thinking, how do I get to the food? Not just because it's there and the food is up there, so automatically it's going to be tall. The animal started thinking, how do I get to the food? And the mind is what now transformed the body over time through needs. You see what I'm saying? So now, damn, if I only was, you know what I mean? That thought goes into your DNA, and it goes on to the next and the next and the next. And now you eventually get certain modification, and that gets longer over time. And boom, now they're up there to be able to get the motherfucking whatever the fuck it is they eat up in them high-ass trees. But we have to stop thinking that the physical is what comes first. The mental comes first. The mental is what makes everything. The mental is first. Knowledge, then wisdom brings forth understanding. If you put physical before mental, you're going to get a misunderstanding.
Well, I mean, for example, you raise dogs. Like you have a pit bull. Like I remember a friend of mine, QD3, was really into it.
Yeah, you said he was so into it.
He was so into it, he stopped producing for Tupac. He became obsessed.
Yeah.
So I remember we were talking about, one day we were talking about dog fighting, right? And he said that what would happen back in the day when people would fight pit bulls, when the pit bull would turn around and attack the master,
Kill the dog.
They would kill the dog, like right then and there. It was established with all the breeders that this is what you do. All the pit bull fighters would do this. Not that I totally disagree with fighting dogs.
Me too.
But
I knew some guys that used to do that too.
They used to do that, and what he said, which I found really interesting, he said that they actually bred that behavior out of that species.
Right.
Out of that breed, because species dogs in general, but out of that breed, by killing off all the dogs that would turn on their master, you would have a species of dog, a breed of dogs that would no longer turn on their master. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Like you could actually do that.
Because look what they're speaking to. They're not speaking to the body. They're speaking to the mind. By shooting the dog, it's telling the next dog, it's telling the next dog, telling their brain, their mind, whatever you want to call it, because some people would beg to differ that a dog has a mind or whatever, but I say they do. I say a plant has a mind. Okay, a rock has a mind.
I don't know about the rock, but
trust me, rocks are living, and that's part of the problem that white people don't understand.
Okay.
That all things are living.
Okay.
All things. Anyway, so they're speaking to the mind of the dog by the other dog seeing, okay, That motherfucker just got murdered for trying to attack his master. So now he's got to process this in his brain, mind, whatever you want to say. Mm-hmm. That, again, is recorded in your DNA. DNA is not just a physical thing. It records thoughts and behavior and feelings.
So you're saying all the other dogs that saw this happen go, okay, the dogs that I give birth to ain't gonna do this because I just saw this.
Basically. Well, he's not definitely, that dog's not gonna do that. He knows if I do that, I'm gonna get fucked up. So now, he don't have, that's just recorded in his DNA. Now, when he has a seed, that seed's gonna feel the same way. Nobody has to tell him anything.
Right.
He's just gonna feel that. You see? So they instilled that fear in the father, and now it's automatically gonna be in the children.
Interesting.
And it's the same thing they did with black people. So now to go back to our original shit, because I'm always going to remember what the foundation is. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's large evidence that suggests that African people, descendants of Africa, were already here and quite possibly, most likely are, the people that we call Native Americans today.
Okay. But there were still slave ships and everything else like that. Like that part there wasn't made up.
I don't know. I've read so
you're saying all that was a farce.
Listen,
all that was a story designed.
There's been bigger farces and stories, to go around the world.
But they found the actual ships. They found the plans. I believe they did. Yeah. I've been.
I read a lot of stuff.
Hold on. I've actually been to Senegal.
Right, to the place where supposedly
was the distribution center.
Right.
It was the island of Gore, and they had
I know
the cannons and the cells and everything.
I know.
Okay.
That's the only one I hear about, though. Like, if you think about it.
But it was centrally located on the coast, on the west coast of Africa. You know what I'm saying?
Listen. Or, you know what I like to do? I like to put things out there sometimes so that people will go
and research
themselves. I'm not Sway. I don't have all the answers.
What do you think about the whole situation?
Man, my point of view, man, I really feel like they tried to paint a bad picture on my brother and tried to make him look like he was a hater. It was some envy, jealousy type shit, you know what I'm saying? And actuality, you know what I'm saying? Bro been having this shit, man. He been in the condo.
I got my hat on and I had my Coke bottles up under my hat. And I'm sitting at the dinner table like an asshole with the hat on, knowing she gonna tell me to take it off. And I'm just sitting there just gawping down, in my zone. She said, take that goddamn hat off at the dinner table. I'm like, come on, Mom. Coke everywhere.